You hear Gulf wealth and you probably think one thing, right? Oil.
But, the real secret isn't a resource. It's actually a mindset about money. Okay, to really get this, let's dive into a story. Let's meet a guy named Khalifa.
Now, on the surface, he looks like your typical wealthy businessman, right? But here's the twist. He's actually a regular middle-class employee.
See, he's a family man. And get this, his story has a lesson for absolutely everyone, no matter where you live. So what he does with his money might just surprise you, no matter who you are.
Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a system that's designed for real financial resilience. Now, this isn't just some theory. This is a framework that's been sharpened over generations in the Gulf, not just to survive economic storms, but to actually thrive because of them. It's a simple, incredibly powerful way of looking at money, and believe me, it is fundamentally different from what most of us are ever taught. So let's dive in and see how you can apply this to your own life.
Okay, before we get to the solution, we have to be crystal clear on the problem. It's a problem we all face. It's called inflation. But look, it's not just about prices going up at the grocery store. I want you to think of it like a silent thief, a constant, invisible force that is chipping away at the value of every single dollar you work for and you save. What cost you $100 last year costs you more today, right? But your salary probably isn't keeping up. And this isn't some far-off problem. It is happening right now, with every dollar you have sitting still.
And that is my promise to you. Forget all the complex financial jargon. We are going to cut through the noise and distill this powerful, deeply ingrained philosophy into a clear, actionable plan. You will leave here today with a brand new way of seeing your money and, more importantly, a concrete plan to put it to work immediately. So here's our roadmap. First, we have to tackle the foundational mindset shift. Then, we'll break down the four-bucket system they use to protect and grow their wealth. We'll get into why they deeply prefer real assets, the hidden power of their networks, their long-term vision, and finally, we'll wrap it all up in a 5-step action plan you can literally start today.
Let's start with the single most important principle. Honestly, this is the one that every other decision is built on. While most of us are taught to save money in a bank account for safety, this system, it operates on the exact opposite idea. To them, money that's sitting still isn't just unproductive, it's money that is in active danger.
Now, what's so fascinating here is the complete clash of philosophies. On the left, you've got the conventional wisdom. Safety comes from saving cash. But in an inflationary world, that's a dangerous illusion. A Gulf businessman sees cash sitting in a bank like a block of ice melting in the sun. You don't have to do a thing for it to disappear. Time and inflation will do all the work for you. So the mindset on the right, it isn't about saving cash. It's about turning that melting ice back into a solid, into things that hold or even grow their value. It's about deploying your money, not just parking it.
This is the rule. I want you to burn this into your mind. It is the core idea of this entire system. Money has to have a job. It must be working, either acquiring assets, generating income, or growing in value. If it's just sitting there, inflation is actively eating it alive, day after day. So the crucial takeaway is that in this kind of environment, strategic action is actually far safer than doing nothing at all.
Okay, so if money must always be moving, where exactly is it supposed to move to? Well, this isn't random. It's not chaotic. It's a disciplined, structured process that takes emotion right out of the equation. This is where the four-bucket system comes in. It's a simple but incredibly powerful way to organize your financial life for both defense and offense, which allows you to act calmly and strategically when everyone else is panicking. All right, let's break this down. Bucket 1, survival. This is your only exception to that no idle cash rule. It's your 3 to 6 month emergency fund. This isn't an investment, it's your insurance policy. It's what gives you the peace of mind to take smart risks everywhere else. Next, bucket 2, stability. This is your main defense against inflation. Think real estate, gold, tangible things that hold their value when paper money gets weaker. Bucket 3, growth. This is your offense. This is where you take calculated risks for higher returns, like investing in businesses or the stock market. And finally, maybe the most important engine of them all, bucket 4, cash flow. These are the assets that continuously put money back in your pocket, like rental income or dividends. You see how this creates a perfect, self-reinforcing system? You're protected, you're growing, and you're generating income to keep filling the other buckets. Let's drill down into bucket number 2, stability, and the big idea behind it, this absolute preference for real assets over paper currency. Now, this isn't just a strategy. It comes from a deep, historical understanding that governments can print as much paper money as they want, whenever they want, but they can't print more land, and they can't print more gold.
And this chart right here illustrates exactly why this preference exists. Just look at what happens in a simple 10% inflation scenario. The value of your cash, on the left, is directly cut. It just buys 10% less. It's a guaranteed loss. But the value of a real asset, like a piece of property, it often rises with inflation. And not only does its paper value go up, but if it's a rental property, the rent you can charge also tends to rise. The exact same economic force creates a loser and a winner. The whole point of this system is to make sure you own the things that win.
So how do you buy these big, significant assets? Well, often it's with leverage, which most people just call debt. But there's a critical difference we have to understand. Bad debt, like a loan for a fancy car that loses value, buys you a liability, something that takes money out of your pocket. Good debt, though, is a strategic tool. It's like using a bigger sail for your boat to catch more wind and go faster. You borrow money to buy an asset that produces income, like a rental property where your tenant's rent actually pays the loan for you. In an inflationary world, good debt becomes a kind of superpower because you're paying back that loan over time with dollars that are worth less than the ones you originally borrowed.
Now this next concept, this is the secret sauce. It's the one element most financial advice completely ignores because you can't really measure it on a spreadsheet. In this system, true wealth isn't just about what you own, it's about who you know, and more importantly, who trusts you. See, access to opportunity is often far more valuable than capital itself.
This is a profound shift in thinking. Your relationships, the ones built on long-term trust and a reputation for doing what you say you'll do, that is where the best deals and opportunities come from. This isn't about handing out business cards. It's about being the person someone calls first when a great business or real estate opportunity pops up, long before it ever hits the open market. Investing in your network by focusing on giving value and building real trust provides a return you can't measure, but you can absolutely feel.
All right, let's zoom out for a second. Let's shift our perspective in time. Most people operate on a very short financial timeline, paycheck to paycheck, or maybe year to year. This system, it demands a much longer, more patient view. We're moving from thinking about this month's bills to building a legacy that will be around long after you're gone.
Just think about the typical financial timeline for a second. Most of us live on the left side of this chart, focused on the next paycheck, maybe the annual bonus. The mindset we're talking about lives on the far right. When your goal is to build something that lasts for generations, it fundamentally changes every single decision you make. You automatically start to favor safe, durable assets over short-term, risky bets. You build systems and you acquire properties that your children and even their children can inherit. It forces a level of discipline and patience that's almost impossible to have with a short-term view.
And this long-term view, it gives you a massive psychological advantage. When inflation spikes and the markets get chaotic, what do most people do? They panic. They sell their assets at a loss, they freeze up, they make emotional decisions. But when you have a strong system and a generational mindset, you see this chaos for what it really is, a predictable transfer of wealth. It allows you to stay calm and act strategically, often buying high-quality assets at a discount when everyone else is running for the exits. So, we've covered the mindset, the structure, and the long-term philosophy. Now, it's time to fulfill the promise I made at the beginning. We're going to translate all these powerful ideas into a simple, concrete plan that anyone can start to put into motion, starting today.
Here it is, 5 clear steps. First, you secure your foundation. Build that 3 to 6 month survival cash buffer. This is non-negotiable. It's your peace of mind. Second, after that buffer is full, you start splitting all your future income into the buckets we talked about. Third, you have to focus. Don't try to do everything at once. Start with just one income-generating asset. Fourth, and this requires discipline, you reinvest every single dollar of profit from that asset right back into the system to buy more assets. Don't spend the profits. And fifth, make building your network a conscious, intentional activity, just like going to the gym.
This chart gives you a really clear visual for step 2. Once your survival buffer is funded, every new dollar of income can be split just like this. 25% goes to stability assets, like physical gold. 25% goes to growth assets, like stocks. Another quarter goes towards acquiring or building new cash flow streams. And that last quarter is for your living expenses and for flexibility. This disciplined allocation is what builds wealth systematically, not by accident.
So let's end with this thought. Inflation is not some random, destructive monster to be afraid of. It's a predictable economic reality that acts like a test. It simply exposes weak financial systems and it rewards strong ones.
By adopting this mindset and this structure, you're not just surviving inflation, you're building a resilient system that is designed to prosper because of it. So the question to leave you with is this: is your system built to be exposed, or is it built to endure?